Good morning, everyone. I'm just about to go into my daughter's volleyball game here on St. Paul, and I wanted to get my video done for today. Um, Today's read is in James, James chapter 1. Actually, last night I was reading the entire letter of James again. I'm not a big fan of when preachers will take a little portion of scripture and secularize it into a secular message. But if there's ever a letter that gives some advice that could just be given and is, of course, perfect advice, that could be, made completely secular, is in James when he talks about taming the tongue. I'm sure, like me, many of you could have done well to spend a good share of your life knowing this truth and walking it out. Just being able to keep your mouth shut, simply just shutting your mouth. In situations where you look back and go, I just wish I wouldn't have said that. Or, that's one thing. My wife, as long as I've known her, she is so kind and gentle, and she's never, that I can remember, a time ever judged somebody based on what somebody else says. Just an example, and I'll be generic here with people. I won't specify names or anything, but there's people that are have come into our life where other people go, oh, that so-and-so is this and so-and-so is that, and they'll have plenty to say about this person. And my wife never judged somebody based on what somebody else says, and she never spoke ill of anybody based on what anybody said, or in general. She just doesn't do it. And it's amazing. I just don't know. I don't know. She just, it's been an inspiration for me to just not make any determinations until you know a person. And just, not getting a little sidetracked there, but the point is that just keeping our mouth shut, and that can go with gossip, of course, and not gossiping, just shutting your mouth. Because so many of us are prone to gossip, and slander. And even if you haven't put in your faith and trust in Jesus Christ, you would do well to heed that advice. And even as believers, we tend to run our mouth where we shouldn't, and say things we shouldn't, that are less than respectful or gentle or loving. Just having the ability to just speak in love always. And James talks a lot about that. Talks about the tongue being a small member, but can set a fire that, a blaze of forest fire from hell. You do well just to read James frequently and remind us. But of course, James has so many more powerful messages with it. But before I get into that, I just wanted to read where was it now? Yeah, this where, a lot of people like to go, oh, God is tempting me, or God is doing this, or God did this, or in some cases, the most commonly heard is, oh, the devil made me do it, or the enemy did this, or the enemy did that. And James puts that to bed. He just completely dismantles that argument. Not to say that we can't be deceived or moved to act a certain way by the enemy, but ultimately it falls on our shoulders. Because it says here in verse 14 of chapter 1, it says, but each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed. How? Listen to how we are lured and enticed. by his own desire. That's it. And it says in verse 13, for God cannot be tempted with evil, and he himself tempts no one. So it's not God. And they say, well, no, it's not God, but it's the devil, it's the enemy. Okay, he puts that out there, but reality is, it manifests itself because of our own lust, our own sinful desire and strong lust. Okay, and then here's a biggie. And this right here is definitely a verse that should be convicting to you if you profess to be a follower of Jesus Christ, if you are a slave to the King, if you belong to Him, but are continuing in unrighteousness and following the patterns of this world and loving this world. When the Word says, for be a friend of this world is to be an enemy of God. Okay? But here James says in verse 22, but be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. So we need to walk it out. You can't just be a punch the clock Christian. You can't just on Sunday morning or whatever. God calls us to walk it out and be doers of the word. So if the word says do this, do it. If the word says don't do this, don't do it. It's not rocket science. It's real simple. It says but be doers of the word and not hearers only. For if you're only hearing and not doing, what does it say here? You deceive yourself. What a terrible. There's no words. There is no words or emotion or convincing to even get our mind around, even come close to the horror that would be facing somebody that spent their entire life deceiving themselves, being deceived into thinking that they belong to the King, only to find out that in death they in fact do not belong to Him, but they hear the words, depart from me, I never knew you, because you're only hearing and not walking out your faith and not doing. Okay, that's all I got for today. God bless you all. We'll see ya.